Hello, everybody. I'm not sure if you are aware of this, and I'm not sure if this is something that eventually will become a serious issue or not here. And because there's a lot of controversy that happens in the United States. We're dealing with a lot of disputable matters and controversy of all type of things going on, and we've heard about China all the time. And most of our goods come from China, right? And some people have stopped even purchasing things that have made in China on them, and things like that. And and so here we have a FBI director, and he is very concerned about Chinese police stations in the United States. Now, Christopher Wray told lawmakers on Thursday that they are deeply concerned about the Chinese government setting up unauthorized police stations in the U.S. cities to possibly pursue influence operations. Now, Safeguard Defenders, a Europe-based human rights organization, published a report in September. Now, this is a report that was published in September revealing the presence of dozens of Chinese police service stations in major cities around the world, including New York. Now, Republicans in Congress have requested answers from the Biden administration about their influence. The report said the stations were an extension of Beijing's efforts to pressure some Chinese nationals or their relatives abroad to return to China to face criminal charges. Now, I don't think that this is far-fetched as far as trying to get people to go and face criminal charges when they have fled to the United States, and maybe they have been granted immunity or or asylum or whatever the case may be. And we know the difference between those two, but I'm just saying that that's not really far-fetched that people will do that, because we've had Americans to flee to other countries and get immunity, and get asylum. And we've seen people come here for different things. And so look at all the border crossings, illegal border crossings, and a lot of stuff going on. So all I'm saying is to me, is not far-fetched. When I read this story, is not far-fetched, that uh, they might, be trying to influence, nationals, Chinese nationals or relatives abroad to return. I'm not saying that I don't believe is far-fetched. Now, I don't know about these police stations. It could be one in my in my community, somewhere in the city. Who knows? You got to look into that. And I'm going to look into that at the next city council meeting, bring it up and see what they say. They probably look at me like, But anyway, or even call and say, hey, have you heard of this before? And bring it up. I mean, some things we might find like not serious or comical, but you never know what actually is lurking in the city that you live in, or you don't know. It could be uh, coming to a city near you. We never know. So it says that the report said, it goes on to say that it's also linked them to activities of China's United Front Work Department, a communist party body charged with spreading its influence and propaganda overseas. Now, he goes on to say, uh, I'm very concerned about this. We are aware of the existence of these stations, Ray told a U.S. Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee hearing, acknowledging but declining to detail the FBI's investigative work on the issue. Well, you shouldn't be sharing what they're doing on the issue. I mean, the FBI, it's the FBI, and if they're doing something that they're supposed to be doing right and not corrupt, then yeah, everything is not for the internet. And we understand that. But we want to make sure that they are protecting our borders and looking into things that could be a threat, or a potential threat. Because if things are not looked into and they become a threat and people in the United States are put at risk and all these different things, then yes, we definitely should be looking into things that could be a potential threat. Okay. And so he goes on to say, no, but let's see. Let me see if that's him still doing the talking. Yeah. But to me, it is outrageous to think that the Chinese police would attempt to set up shop, in New York, let's say without proper coordination. It violates sovereignty and circumvents standard judicial and law enforcement cooperation processes. Ray asked by Republican Senator Rick Scott if such stations violated U.S. law, said the FBI was looking into the legal parameters. Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives, including Greg Murphy and Mike Waltz, sent letters to the Justice Department in October asking if President Joe Biden's administration was investigating such stations and arguing they could be used to intimidate U.S. residents of Chinese origin. Chinese embassy in Washington did not respond immediately to a request for comment, but earlier this month, its foreign ministry denied it had such stations in the Netherlands after a probe by Dutch authorities. Chinese said they were offices to help Chinese citizens renew documents. You know what? But shouldn't that office be very clear? And the address, the name of the business should be very clear to what their office services, right? So like if you know how you have immigration offices in the United States and it clearly states on their door, immigration, and it even says, passports, deportations. It actually stated, and even their website, they should have some type of website that says what their offices do. So no one should never be confused about what a business actually does, right? No one should be confused about that. If I'm cutting hair and I'm a barber, then my shop should be very clear on that. I'm going to get my hair cut at this barber shop. Or if it's a beauty salon, right? I'm going to get my hair done at this beauty salon or a nail shop, or I sell clothes or I sell jewelry. We sell shoes, or we sell, a multiple thing of, of goods, or, a department store. There should not be any question about what a business does, right? And so the Chinese said their offices were there to help citizens renew documents. Now, does it really say that? Do people have to guess at what your business is doing or your office? You just can't set up a shop and then there is nothing on your window or your door. There's nothing there except for just a shop, right? People don't know what you're doing behind closed doors like that, especially in a public environment, and it's supposed to be a public office to help other people, right? So Ray said the United States had made a number of indictments involving the Chinese government harassing, stalking, surveilling, and blackmailing people in the United States who disagreed with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Now, I did a story on that article with that woman, Carly Moss, who went over to Saudi Arabia, and they have an 8-year-old. She has an 8-year-old daughter. She's a divorcee. She has an 8-year-old daughter with her ex-Saudi Arabian husband, right? And she went over there. But anytime you put anything up against these certain countries, they will hold you accountable in some kind of way. And with her, they detained her, and they have not allowed her to return back to the United States because of the what is the word I'm looking for? They look at the laws of men over there, and the women really don't have laws. And the laws of the men are protected, and they look at it from that perspective, that men have rights over women in Saudi Arabia. And then there was a man here, he was a citizen here, originally from Saudi Arabia, but he put something up about criticizing or something that didn't look good, wouldn't have looked good in the light of Saudi Arabians. And so when he went back for a visit, they detained him and convicted him of 16 years in prison. And he was an elderly man, okay, like in his 70s. So there are things that these other countries do, over there. They do them. And so if they are setting up offices here to harass, stalk, survey people, surveillance, putting surveillance on people, or blackmailing people because they are of Chinese descent that are living here freely, because again, over here, we can live freely majority of the time, unless there's some wrongful convictions that happen, and that we've seen that happen a lot when it comes to our very own black people. But for the most part, there's a lot of strict laws and rigidness in other countries, and we see that. So a lot of people want to come to America, the United States, and live a more better life, or freedom, a life for freedom, democracy and things like that. And so their leader over there, he is like the North Korean leader. Look at what he does to those people over there. It's really bad. And so they might be doing that. I'm gonna tell you, it's not far-fetched, and it's not something that we cannot say will never happen or don't happen. And so maybe it is a good idea that they open up a probe and really see. And then so the FBI has done that, and so they can see what really is going on over here. Because again, you may be living in a community somewhere in a city that they have an office that's unnamed. And if they raided that office, they may find out some things that's going on. And I'm not saying something to be causing some type of, bias or hate towards any other, culture or race, but, things do happen, right? And so he goes on to say it's a real problem and something that we're talking with our foreign partners about as well, because we're not the only country where this has occurred. And see, and in this article I read that they questioned some office, and they said, oh, we just helping with documents. Oh, okay. So the United States unsealed criminal charges in October against seven Chinese nationals accused of waging a surveillance and harassment campaign against a U.S. resident and his family in a bid by the Chinese government to repatriate one of them back to China. Okay? It was the latest case by the Justice Department targeting China's effort to track down people overseas who Beijing calls criminal suspects, known as Operation Fox Hunt. Now, I wonder if you all have heard of Operation Fox Hunt, when they are trying to track down people, to bring them to justice, back to their country, to bring them to justice. So anyway, there should not be any building or allowing any other country to set up shop or police stations in our country without coordinated efforts that they are working together for something that the United States FBI know about, and they're working together to bring or shut down criminal activity. Okay? So I'm not going to say it's not far-fetched. I'm not saying that it's far-fetched. And we really need to make sure that we are watchful, we are alert, and that we keep up on things that are going on. And again, if you live in a certain state or a certain city, you want to, make sure that, you know about what's going on in the city that you reside in. And look, just from some comments that I read, though, there are some veterans like myself, but there are I'm just going to say it like this. People will look into stuff. People will question things. But according to this comment, this person says, if the government don't shut it down, veterans will. And they also went on to say, China is getting a little bold these days. Well, it's not these days. They've been getting bold. China has been getting bold because they feel like they got the upper hand, and that, everybody is buying Chinese. And if you are patronizing people that's, you know, patronizing these businesses where most other stuff is coming from, yeah, they got money. You know, money walks. Money walks and Bafule, you know, money, I mean, money talks, excuse me, money talks and Bafule walks, right? Money talks, Bafule walks. So if you got money, you know, and you feel like you got the upper hand, then yeah, you know what's going to happen. And they've been getting bold for a long time. It's not just didn't start overnight. They've been getting bold for a long time. And if there are these Chinese police stations out here and doing this, all this surveillance, see, there could be something right up under our nose to set all of us up and put us at risk. So I don't think it's far-fetched. So leave your comments below. Tell me what you think about this. And have you ever heard of, you know, the Operation Fox Hunt? Let me know if you've heard of that. You know, and leave your respectful comments below and let me know what you think about this. Have you been following this? Have you ever heard of this before? And are you aware of it? So leave your comments below. Don't forget the thumbs up, you know, the video, share the video, you know, subscribe to